بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to start a new lesson on Hadith number 6 from the book 40 Hadith by late Imam Khomeini rahmatullah alayh wa rahmatullah ala jami' ulama'ina al-madin. And this hadith is about Hubb al-Dunya بالسند المتصل إلى محمد ibn Ya'qub. So Imam Khomeini, through his own chain of narrators and sheikhs and masters of hadith that he has been given permission, he is connected to Sheikh Kulayni, Muhammad ibn Ya'qub, the one who compiled al-Kafi. So this hadith is from Kafi, and you find it in Kitab al-Iman wal-Kufr, Babu Hubb al-Dunya. So it's in the chapter about Hubb al-Dunya, in the section on Iman and Kufr. Hadith number 15 in al-Kafi, in that chapter is number 15. Here is number 6. Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur, who is a great personality, he quotes from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam this hadith: Man asbaha wa amsa wa dunya akbaru hammihi. Whoever starts his day and ends his day basically means spending his day and night while dunya is his greater concern. جعل الله الفقر بين عينيه وشتت أمره. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would poverty between his two eyes. Either in the sense that would make him poor, or meaning that he is all the time seeing poverty. You know, in Arabic, if something is put in front of your eye and you are always seeing, say nasbul ain. So it can mean that Allah would fix poverty and would, write it here between two eyes, or it may mean that would keep it always in. It means he's day and night thinking about what if I become poor. It's a torture, if you always think about this. Ash-shaytan ya'idukumul faqr. One of the things that shaitan does to make us suffer and also to make us obedient to him, to make us greedy and impatient, is to tell us that you must be afraid of poverty. If you give sadaqah, if you give zakat, khums, I don't know, if you spend some time other than making money on doing something, learning something, visiting friends and relatives, you become poor. If you are honest, you become poor. If you don't cheat, you become poor. So all the time, ya'idukumul faqr. So to be always thinking about this is very painful condition. وَشَتَّتَ أَمْرَهُ, and would scatter his affair. So things don't come together. You know, for example, if you want to travel, if you want to buy a new home or home for the first time, there are many, many things that need to come together. Sometimes you see that, mashallah, things nicely come together. You expected it may not happen at all, or it may be very difficult. You think things come together very nicely. And sometimes you think everything should be okay, but you see problems happen one after the other. Sometimes the reason for our things not getting together and not getting all right, sometimes it's a test, but sometimes it can be a punishment for what we did in the past, what we have done in the past. Like here, if someone spends his day and night while his greater concern is dunya, then Allah would put poverty between his two eyes and would scatter his affair. وَلَمْ يَنَلْ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَا قَسَمَ لَهُ أَوْ قُسِمَ لَهُ. And in the end, he would not get from dunya, he would not reach from dunya except what Allah has divided and distributed for him, or what is distributed. Qasama Allah means, or qusima is majhul, passive verb. The result is the same. You need to seek halal rizq. You need to seek halal income. But if you are greedy, if you do more, it's not that necessarily you get more. And especially these people, they would not get more than what they are supposed to get. In months of Muharram, in this last Muharram, in lectures, we had 2 sessions about rizq. And what does rizq mean, and whether we should seek and look for it or not, and if yes, how much, and this type of things. وَمَنْ أَصْبَحَ وَأَمْسَى وَالْآخِرَةُ أَكْبَرُ هَمِّهِ. But opposite to the first group, whoever starts his day and ends his day, means and goes into night, basically spending his day and night, while وَالْآخِرَةُ أَكْبَرُ هَمِّهِ, the hereafter is greater concern. جَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْغِنَى فِي قَلْبِهِ. Allah would put rich in his heart. It's very beautiful. This is in his heart. وَجَمَعَ لَهُ أَمْرَهُ. And brings his affair together, collects his affairs. So, this is the hadith that Imam Khomeini mentions, and he is very confident about the sanad of this hadith, and now he wants to discuss the meaning and significance of this hadith. So he's selected, and he wants to have a discussion about Hubb al-Dunya based on this hadith. So now let's see what is Hubb al-Dunya. So the first chapter is about Allama Majlisi, rahmatullah alayhi, Muhammad Baqir al-Majlisi. You know, we have 2 famous Majlisi. One is the father, Muhammad Taqi. One is the son, Muhammad Baqir. Both of them were great scholars. They have books. The one that is famous for compiling Bihar al-Anwar is Muhammad Baqir al-Majlisi. And he has many other books like Mir'atul Uqul and Zadul Ma'ad and many. So Allama Majlisi, and Imam Khomeini mentions his name with great respect, because unfortunately there were some people outside Hawzas, and maybe even some junior people in Hose, but normally it's not common in Hose. But some people outside, they have been criticizing Allama Majlisi, and for different reasons. I don't want to go into that discussion. Imam Khomeini says, Janab Muhaqqiq Khabir wa Muhaddis bi Nazir Maulana Majlisi. His eminence, great scholar and unique scholar of Hadith, our Sheikh, our Mawla here means Sheikh or Master, Majlisi, he says that according to his understanding of all verses and hadith about dunya, Allama Majlisi is sharing with us his understanding about all ayat and hadith about dunya. He says, dunya, which is blamed, which is mazmoom, is anything that stops us from obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, loving Him, and working for akhirah. Anything that is an obstacle for obedience and love for Allah and working for akhirah, this is dunya. Even it can be some things that make good nice, like some riyazat, some difficult exercises that some people may do for a spiritual, success, but which have no root and basis in revelation or sunnah, or something that they may do to show off, even if it is ibadah. So the dunya, which is blamed, is anything that stops you from obedience. It can be excessive love for, money, it can be love, negative love for position, whatever, but it can also be things that in themselves might be okay, but you do it with not sincere intention, or you do them in excess and things like this. Anything that is an obstacle. And akhirat, in contrast, is anything that would lead to gaining pleasure of Allah, to please Allah, to be near Allah. Even it can be business, it can be trade, it can be farming, it can be industry, it can be driving, it can be baking. If you do it in order to gain halal rizq for yourself and your family, or to do charity work, to give to poor people, you don't want to ask people for help, you want to be independent, this is akhirah. This is not dunya. And then he quotes from one of ulama, Allah Majlisi quotes from one of ulama, that in Mir'atul Uqud, which is commentary on Usul al-Kafi and al-Kafi, he says, one of ulama says, dunya is before akhirah. So whatever comes to you before death is dunya. Any pleasure in dunya, anything that you enjoy in dunya, like pleasure from eating, drinking, position, fame, this type of thing is dunya. Then Imam Khomeini mentions his own idea, which of course you find in other books also, which is maybe very meaningful and makes lots of sense, and I'm sure you have heard it also before. And that is to distinguish between two meanings of dunya. What do we mean by dunya? When we say worldly pleasure, for example, this world, this life in this world, what do we mean? If you mean by dunya this physical, material, temporary world in which we live right now, in which we have freedom to choose, we have opportunity to obey, we can pray, we can fast, we can do charity, but at the same time we are always tested and tried. This is not bad. Yes, it is true that this world is the lowest universe in the hierarchy of existence. In philosophical lectures, we have explained that there are different domains or different universes, and the lowest one is the physical world. We have then Malakut, Lahut, but this Alam al-Mulk is the lowest one. But this is great world, great opportunity. For our purpose, it's perfect. It's not perfect in itself because it has problems caused by interactions and limitations and misuse of free will by some people. But for our purpose, which is to test people and to give them endless opportunities to prove themselves, this is perfect. As we say many times, if you want to train commandos, you don't send them to 5-star hotels. You don't send them to luxury resorts. You send them to jungles. You give them little food. For training purposes, we need difficulties and challenges. Of course, Allah gives us that much that we can cope with. He would never give you more than what you can cope with. And many times it is us, ourselves, or people other than us who are in touch with us, or their work sometimes affect us, that may make life too difficult for us. But that's different from Allah's desire. So, dunya in this sense is not bad, and indeed it is very good. And Imam Khomeini refers to that famous hadith of Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, that you have it in Nahjul Balagha. In Nahjul Balagha, which is compiled by Fayzul Islam, because Sayyid al-Razi has compiled Nahjul Balagha, but then we have different editions. One is by Fayzul Islam. Sometimes the numbering is also a little bit different. According to Fayzul Islam is wise saying 126. Imam Ali alayhi salam heard that someone is blaming dunya, saying bad things about dunya. And Imam alayhi salam started mentioning good aspects of dunya. إن الدنيا دار صدق لمن صدقها. This dunya is the abode of truth, is the house of truth, if you are truthful, if you are honest. Dunya would not deceive you if you don't try to deceive yourself or other people. وَدَارُ عَافِيَةٍ لِمَنْ فَهِمَ عَنْهَا. And it is also the place in which you can have what you want, a reasonable, decent life, if you have proper understanding of dunya. وَدَارُ غِنَى لِمَنْ تَزَوَّدَ مِنْهَا. And if you collect your provision from it, it's the house of becoming rich. وَدَارُ مَوْعِظَةٍ لِمَنْ اتَّعَذَ بِهَا. And it is the place that you can learn lessons if you are a person who takes lessons. Masjidu ahibba Allah. This is the place of sajda, ibadah, worship for lovers of Allah. Wa musalla malaikatillah. This is where the angels of Allah send their salutations, they send their salawat. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. So these salutations that they send, it is happening in dunya. Wa mahbatu wahyillah. Revelation of Allah also descends in dunya, comes to the prophets in dunya. Wa matjaru awliya illah. It's the place of trade and business. إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أموالهم وأنفسهم بأن لهم الجنة من الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات. So where awliyaullah sell their life, their money, whatever they have, and gain pleasure, gain akhirah, gain heaven, gain reward, gain nur. Where? In dunya. The place of worship, it's the marketplace. اكتسبوا فيها الرحمة وربحوا فيها الجنة. In dunya they have acquired mercy of Allah, and in dunya they have made as profit heaven. So why you are blaming dunya? These are all good qualities of dunya, what you can achieve. Or in the Quran, we have in Surah Nahl, verse 30, وَلَنِعْمَ دَارُ الْمُتَّقِينَ. How good it is, the place of the pious people. According to a hadith from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, which is narrated in Tafsir Ayashi, which is a hadith-based tafsir, Imam alayhi salam said, this لَنِعْمَ دَارُ الْمُتَّقِينَ قَالَ الدُّنْيَا. Darul Muttaqin is dunya. It doesn't mean heaven here. So, this is a great world. But what is blamed when we say dunya in a negative sense? That is your wrong approach to this world. Your own dunya means your own belonging to dunya. Like, for example, I can have a mobile and use it in a good way or in a bad way. I cannot blame mobile, I can blame my own approach. Dunya in itself actually is good. Water in itself is good. But I can use water in a negative way. For example, I can use water to destroy someone's house. This is then my misuse. So, dunya, which is mazmum, which is blamed, is made by us. Dunya, which is made by Allah, is good. That which is bad is made by us. and that is to be limiting our attention and our desires to short-term pleasure. Imam Khomeini says, آنچه مذموم است دنیای خود انسان است. What is blamed is the dunya of human being themselves. به معنا وجهه قلب به طبیعت. Your heart is geared towards this nature, this physical world. و دلبستگی و محبت آن است. Your heart is tied to this, fastened to this, means is attached to dunya. This is the problem. I have a beautiful, for example, house. It's not bad. But if my heart is attached to it, and I have taken this as an end, not as a means, that's the problem. And this, Imam Khomeini says, it's the root of all corruptions and mistakes in the heart and also organs. He says, منشأ تمام مفاسد و خطاها. All corruption and mistakes, قلبی related to heart, و قالبی related to our organs. All belongs to this. And then he quotes this famous hadith again in Kafi. It is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. رأس كل خطيئة حب الدنيا. Of course, we normally say حب الدنيا رأس كل خطيئة. We may have different versions of it, but here the one that he quotes from is from Imam Sadiq in Al-Kafi. باب حب الدنيا والحرص عليها. This is hadith number 1. The head, the root, the foundation, the origin of every khatiyah, every mistake is حب الدنيا, negative love for dunya, excessive love for dunya. Imam Baqir alayhi salam is also quoted as saying, ما ذئبان ضاريان في غنم ليس لها راع هذا في أولها وهذا في آخرها بأسرع فيها من حب المال والشرف في دين المؤمن. Imagine you have 50, 60 sheep and goats. So you have a herd, and then one wolf from the beginning and another from the end attack, basically like surrounding these animals. And you know, wolf is said, I have not seen myself, but it's commonly said, that wolf has the characteristic that doesn't kill as much it needs. You know, some animals, when they are hungry, they kill one animal, they eat, and normally they cannot finish, and other animals eat. If it is not enough for them, for example, is a big bear and the one fish, okay, they then finish, they take another fish. But wolf just attacks and leaves and attacks another one, because it seems that they are very greedy. They say, okay, now that there are plenty, let's attack them and kill them or make them injured so that they cannot go away, and then later we come and eat all of them. Of course, they cannot eat all of them. So this is greediness. Now, if one wolf comes and there is no shepherd or dog or whatever to protect, one of them can kill many. But some can run away. But imagine two of them come, but not from one direction. One from the beginning, one from the end, and they surround them. It will be disaster. Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, no two wild wolves would attack a herd who has no shepherd. لَيْسَ لَهَا رَاعٍ. And one is in the beginning and one at the end, would be destroying faster than حُبُّ الْمَالِ وَالشَّرَفِ. They cannot finish faster or kill or destroy faster than the way حُبُّ الْمَال وَحُبُّ الشَّرَفِ can damage deen mu'min. Iman and deen of mu'min. من حُبِّ الْمَال وَالشَّرَفِ في دين المؤمن. It shows that حُبُّ الْمَال, excessive love for dunya, mal means money, and sharaf means honor, but here means position, means superficial respect. If you want to be really sharif, it's good, but if it is just fame and position, that is not an end. So this shows how dangerous it is. So Imam Khomeini says, تعلق قلب و محبت دنیا عبارت از دنیای مذموم است. This is the blame dunya, and whatever your heart is attached to it as taken as an end, this becomes a problem if it is anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and akhirah, which is the journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When your attachment to dunya becomes more, it becomes a seeker hijab. Because dunya is hijab, it's a barrier, it's a veil, and if we have more attachment to dunya, this becomes more. He says we have in some hadiths that for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there are 70,000 hijab from light and darkness. We have hujub nuri, we have hujub zulumani. Hujub nuri are things that in themselves are good, by themselves are good, but they can become barrier. Like knowledge. Knowledge by itself is good. But if knowledge diverts my attention from Allah, that is not good. This is hijab. But we have hujub zulumani, those veils which are dark, and that is dunya. Attachment to dunya. So the more we are attached to dunya, the thicker the hijab becomes, and the more thicker it becomes, the more difficult it becomes to penetrate. Okay, we stop here. Alhamdulillah, this chapter finished. Inshallah, in the next session, we have to start another chapter about why excessive love for dunya increases. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to get rid of hubb dunya and benefit from positive dunya, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.